I'm just get some stuff set up to see how this streaming works, but you know, gotta get some work done before Thanksgiving. Boom. Awesome. Sweet. All right. So what I've been doing is just kind of getting the system ready to start building itself using a payload technique, so I don't have to modify procedures, because who wants to do that? Hate modifying procedures and trying to figure out where all these procedures are called to update variables. So I'm using a payload technique. Let's see. Okay. Do trying to make this public so it doesn't. There we go. Come on. There we go. Awesome. Alrighty. So I've been creating these subjects, but I have to get my file group set up so I can get my history and snapshot and archive. I'm using the same pattern that I did for creating the tables, or at least populating the data, where I have these templates. So I'm going to create these templates for files because I need all these different files. Actually, I might have some, no, because I have to relate them. So yeah. So I want to create some templates for our database files. And file groups. It should be pretty easy. Just kind of think of the name, like what goes into the name of our file itself, and I use my system database as kind of what I've already done. So we have this file name where it's the system, the identifier, the subject family of data, right? Yep, subject family of data, if it belongs to, actually that's, oh, I see, okay. So we're going to use the subject itself, and then the dataset type. So let's create some templates. Actually, let me get that back. replace comma with a new line and a comma. All right, so database ID, dataset type ID, these are our files. These are our file groups. Database ID, do I have a template already set up? Yep. What's the key name on that? Dataset templates. So that's where our template is. File group for, let's do it in order, clustered indexes. Dataset name will be the identifier for file group, the database name, no identifier, underscore. We'll do actually be domain of data, and the dataset type, well, in this case it's blob, or no, we're doing cluster first. Yep. 26, okay. This is a template for clustered file groups. 1, 2, no abbreviation. We'll match key names. We need a source, no sequence, no display order. Active, and I trust my own work. So next, value for our sequence over nothing. So that will give us cluster data. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, what am I missing? Oh yeah, no sequence, no displays. There we go. So I will have my file groups, but the type ID, that's not for my templates. That's for my actual file group. So I actually want to kind of talk about a design pattern here. And since I've already done this with tables, I'll just use that as an example. So I can create a highlight of this. So we have, let me cut this up even smaller. Paste it over here. just because. Okay. So we have some data. We have a template and we have a standard item. Where's my pen? There's my pen. Awesome. Sweet. When we call things, what we're going to do is, if we're in the template area, we can retrieve our realm, class, family, and type key names to actually retrieve or to insert data that's classified correctly. So we would just have to change what the class is. So we can do like this weird folding because these are always equal to each other. It's kind of like a data-driven pattern where I could pull a template and then say, hey, for whatever my classification is, just give me the type, the class of standard instead of template to find out what I actually need. So what I'll do is create file templates for these, which tells me that this is an improper classification, that I should have file and file group versus this step. So just adapting to the classifications that we do have, so that's no problem at all. So file group. And again, following that same pattern, table template. So I'll have file template, file group template. So that's 3 and 4. So 3. This is file group. So I'll have standard. And this will now be 4. So say these data sets are standard file groups under the abstract SQL system. And, oh, instead of file groups, I'll just change this to files. So 5 is my new one. If I come over to family, let's see. Actually, no. Oh, that split it up for me just like I wanted. Awesome. So I will just create the template versions of these. So I would need a template for our file group. These data sets are templates for other data sets. And then one under our files. So for the family, since I have 5 and 3, I gotta write that down. Three are files, 5 are file groups. Just to make this go faster, I'm going to use Sheets because that's my favorite kind of data editing tool. So I could just copy and paste data So with my family, I could just copy all this data under 3. Remove it. And we'll have our new templated versions. So we'll have 4, which belongs to file group. Say 3s are files. So file is realm 3. Realm 3 is now 7. 3 is now 7, and these would be 6. Nothing, we don't want anything to change, so we can essentially just fold the data in. So my new families under the templates. So then I would just go and repeat the process with types. So basically, yep. These are my file groups. I don't need the defaults or the log files because those are being created with the database. I just need the files and file groups. Sweet. And my new family for files is 23, and for file groups, if I have to keep looking at different tables to figure out what I'm doing, then I'm not documenting how I should be. So 23 is our new file groups from six. Okay. So 5. Okay. I think I'm there. It's confusing. $15 original, 5 original. $15 becomes 23 and 19. Screw it. Let's just guess. Let's see if we did it correctly. File group template, file template. Awesome. So we can define a data set for a template and then fold it over into the actual item so we can document what we're doing. So for the cluster file group clustered 38, and we can actually, let's do 38 columnar 37. Okay, 38, 37 is for blob. Is for columnar. And 40 is for index. And we'll basically repeat the same thing for 41 to 44. So this is a file blob (42) (43). I just realized all my key names are messed up. No problems. Index. So I can actually go to the data set table and just update those real quick. So this should allow me to essentially say, hey, I would like where the function for the dataset type ID is a file. Actually, let's do this. Replace tabs with quote, comma, quote. Replace the beginning with 1, comma, quote. And replace the end with just quote. I can't do it, didn't highlight, no problems. There we go. So I should be able to say, give me the data set name from my data set select view, where the dataset's dataset type ID is a file template for the secondary data file of index. And I need crap back. Oh, because nope. Oh, because one time I didn't change. Okay. Okay. Index, blob, want a file group. Nice. So I should just be able to change this to standard once I get my things defined to actually figure out what belong in that area. So now I have to essentially create a population script. So since I'm doing this with only JSON, my default parameters are going to be who's the operating tenant, what the JSON is that's coming in, and what the JSON is that's going out. So this could be a table or an error, and this could be whatever is necessary for the current calling, for the current context. This is so I don't have to modify procedures, just like we don't have to modify the tables anymore when our business changes. So I need, when I create a new database, I'll go to this since it's easier to explain while drawing. We have a couple types of data. One of our primary types of data is this realm, class, family, and type model. And this is reference data. Oh, I didn't hit right click. So here's our reference data denoted by ref. Now sometimes we have a base table that is actually reference data, but other times we have a base table that is a particular variety of data, like relationship, REL. All of these relationships on its own file to separate the data. Now, so that's one of them when we model people, and when we model some other items, we're going to need their own file groups. So this is that pattern where we need 4 files and file groups per essentially domain of data, body of knowledge. So I have to figure out, based on my subjects, what I have. So I know I'll always have reference data. So that's awesome. Nope. But I will have specific domain data. And the subject type ID is the subject type ID primary key. So it'll be this plus reference, and we'll always want that. So I don't have any, so let's create I should do relationship also. At least I can do the relationship. So this is where it gets a little tricky because I need to program 2 different rules. One is reference. One is the family. Relationship or realm, class, family, type, then that is something completely different. But they all belong to dataset and table. So give me the subject IDs, subject names from the subject select view, where the subject type ID is in our tree for the subject, but I only need the type ID where the subject realm is table and the subject class is, oh, reverse that because we'll have views. So dataset table, these are my subjects I have to work with. I need the subject type ID. All right. So we want to do this one at a time. So the payload in the procedure do some logic. So I need the subject type key name, family key name. Actually, I should reverse this. Realm, class, family, type. From the tree. The subject ID. And the subject ID is a JSON value from our payload where it's in the root under subject ID. Subject type ID. Select the subject, subject type ID. Sweet. Awesome. So based on that, I need to actually create 4 files. So we have this awesome relationship set up, and just to keep pounding in this concept, because it's a very important concept, we work in a classification structure with a realm, class, family, type hierarchy, where each subtable has a foreign key to the previous, so one to many. And we have a relationship table which will have our type ID and 2 pairs of columns, which will represent primary keys from a random table and the table dataset number, or the specific dataset number. So this will allow us to actually relate things like, let's say, these rules where the domain subject actually needs a type name. Actually, we'll go family, dataset family. So, dataset table subject family requires 4 under file group and 4 under something else. So subject family to dataset, we already have that. Awesome. It's a functional dependency. So 3. We have a functional dependency set up for objects. This is now 5. And the type that we have is the dataset template. So let's create 2 more under 5. So we'll have the file group template. This relationship represents subject family to file groups. And we will have a file template. So under this, subject family, the specific dataset number and the ID from this tree. So I could say, oh yeah, I was supposed to be class. Dang it. Oh well. Again, simple enough. So 26 and 4. It's morning. I'm still waking up, as you can tell by my typing. So subject class. $1,005. We need a new functional relationship. 10,005 for an object. $10,007. It's actually going to be 7. There we go. So now I can relate subject classes to their specific templates given a relationship. So relationship should be 3, right? Yep. So that'll be our relationship, and this will be our parent primary key. Which will be this. Parent key, parent data set. Child. We can actually get our data sets. Dataset name, dataset ID, dataset specific, dataset number. I just want these at the bottom. Are we in order? File group first. Dataset ID second. 2, 3, 4. So our file group is 10,006 and our files are 7. So 6 and then 7. So 6, then 7. And we own this data, and everything else can be the same. There's no sequence. It's not sequence dependent, and our flags will remain the same. Boom. So, using these same patterns again, I could say, I'm just going to get rid of all this code. I don't need it, and well, I might, but whatever. So based on my class, so I will need my subject class ID. Based on my class, find the file groups, data set name, where the dataset ID is located in our system relationship, and this is subject class to dataset, so it would be the child, it would be the primary key, the child, and implied means that the key came from somewhere else. System relationship, oh, it's rel. Where the system relationship type ID belongs to me, and it is the subject class to dataset. It's functional relationship for objects, more specifically file template. So that's the type ID, and the primary key of the parent is our subject class ID. There's always something in here. Object. Object it is. We flip those. Sure enough, we did. I cannot catch a break today. There we go. And if I come in and I need a file group, these are all the file groups. Blah. Dude. You gonna give me an error? No. Sweet. There we go, finally. Alright, so I come in, I get a subject ID, and it tells me what I need to build based on my class. Now, I would just have to figure out what this means. So it's token replacement time, where I have to figure out where the subject lives and what the domain name is. So I have a very similar subject database. So if I look at my tree for system relationship, I can easily figure out for integrity purposes what database I'm supposed to be in. So select the database name from the database select view, where the database type ID, or actually database ID, is in the same thing, except it's a different relationship. It's still the child, but the parent is the subject ID. It's telling me it's in system main, which it is. So what do we want? We want the database name, and we want no prefix. No ID is what I called it. No identifier. No notation, no prefix, no whatever. Let's get it. Thank you, Swedish Mofs and David. Yeah. You guys developers? Your day job? Right, database name. The length of the database is 2. Bam, system main. So FG system main. Now what is this? So here are our rules. If the subject family key name is domain, we want one thing. Yeah. We'll flip this. I'm gonna say there's a higher chance that I will get more of these. Nice. Head of Business Information Management. I want that title. It's just like a mouthful. It's like, so what do you do for a living? I'm the head of Business Information Management. I have to tell people I'm a software developer because when I say I'm a data architect, they're like, what do you do? I think someone asked if I built cabinets. That was my bank. It's like, what are we talking about? Oh, architect. I get it. I get it. all of that. Let's see my subject family. Yep. It is computer stuff. That's fair. That is, I mean, oh, those are views, damn it. I don't want that. Okay. This will be our domain name. Subject family abbreviation. Since I'm already getting the class ID, I might as well. Get the family ID while I am there. What I like to tell people is like, yeah, remember Cambridge Analytica? Yeah, I do that. I know everything about you. Isn't that crazy? Everything you've posted. We know that. That's fine. Just don't post stuff. Okay. Well, where's my select come? Oh, yeah. So that is not what I wanted. So it should be right for a relationship. Type. Hate all these if statements. All these if statements should mean that I'm doing this wrong, so I gotta redesign. That structure should just be able to fold the data in. No, I want relationship will be least common. Subject type name. actually really, I wanted to be a chem engineer in college. I couldn't get in any labs because they're always full up because I was lazy. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go into IT essentially. I'm going to be a developer. I was like, I cannot handle people face to face for very long. It's just not, I'm an introvert. So data, I love it. Same kind of patterns I was looking for in chem engineering, and it's just like, oh man, I gotta work with puzzles all day. Every day is just some weird Sudoku puzzle. Bam! Reference. Get it. 13. Relationship. No. That's right. From ClassFamily. Weird, why aren't you firing? Oh. Because I don't have that relationship set up, right? That's right. Yeah. That's what this model was for me. It's like, you know, hey, everything's the same. So let's say that. Oh, what I gotta do. What I have to do. Modify object, create system for relationships. Oh, no, create data set. So I haven't figured that, or I haven't done that templated data yet, but at least this will help me give me reference data. Which on the 000, like, hey, we're gonna make everything build everything. Yep, so coming close to the end of that, this is like an iterative approach. Is someone showed me this pattern where they dealt with class family type. I was like, what if everything had a realm? So we have this one more degree of abstraction. We automate everything. Excellent. Now, like, I really hate procedures. I hate how you're like, oh crap, now I need this ID. I got to go figure out where this procedure is and update all the parameters. So I was like, what if we can overload it? So what if every procedure that we had just had the same parameters? And it was the procedure itself that says, hey, you know, this is kind of what we're expecting in order for it to work and in order to get optional activity. So that's what this iteration is if I can do this, then I'm going to create a simple React app, and I'm going to go to Reddit and just pull data sets and, you know, have the data set on the screen and say, this is the person domain and these are the specific name type, and hit go, and I should be able to import all the data. So I'm going to spend all this time building this system just to do like this weird will it blend type series where put a file in, hit go, boom, collection of data. So essentially I'm going to download the world, but I want to be lazy about it because lazy engineers are the best engineers. We don't want to do the same work again. Even though I'm doing the same work again, but it's a little different. I don't know. All right. Where was I? Right, files. So I need to create a file. So this is basically what I'm talking about. Header defaults. So I'm expecting a subject ID in here, and this will be responsible for creating files. So it says system object creation data set file. This is the topmost item. It requires my standard parameters. When I get this stuff, close that. I have comments where I have my declares, my initialization, which is just one thing, and my actual code. But I should be better. System relationship, type, subject class to data set. I want to be the Bob Ross of SQL. I want this to look clean. Oh, too far because that has to come back. Subject to database, and I actually think I can pull this down one level. So subject class subject to database. I think I should iterate through the data sets. All right. Should do them both? No, I would want to do them one at a time. I would declare let's see, we'll do file, it's named file, so file cursor. I'm going to modify the dataset table, so it's got to be static, forward only, read only, because I want to make sure that I am recording this information, so I can just say, hey, what are my files, instead of trying to right click on these all the time. So for all of my files, open that could be done up here. And that's not going to change. And that will be in here. We're setting templates, so that's the only thing. Alright, that's the only thing that's changing in here, so I don't have to clear out any variables, and that should do it. So say file. Why, son? Oh, I know. Because I'm probably fix that. Oh, another cool addition to the system is, well, I'm throwing all this stuff up on Coffee in case people want to download it and mess with it, but I'm using database triggers to actually track my changes now in case I'm like, oh, I really screwed up. I have to go back because I don't like third-party tools either. And that code was super simple to do. It's like, bam. Does it fit on one page? Yes. That's it. Simple. Oh, and it's poorly documented and spaced. Yeah, all this does is basically give me a string date. Oh. For with the milliseconds, so I don't run into any issues. And I send it to interface history. This crazy block of data, all that really matters is the procedure itself and the name. I replace Microsoft's quoted identifiers because that's what Microsoft does. And boom, I get history on all my procedures. But for this, now we should be able to say subject ID equals 5. Gosh. Yep. Do I get 4? Reference, that was right. Yeah. It's just relying, and then when you think of Git at a corporate or a business level, you have to pay for it. So it's like, what are these added expenses? Like, why? Unpopular opinion. Most of the third-party applications, not to call any specific data ingestion services out by name or complain about them because that would make me a snowflake. Essentially, you're just paying for a service because your model is messed up. It doesn't move the way you need it to move, so now you're stuck paying with a service. And I like the idea of Git because TFS can be a pain sometimes, but realistically, on the database side, I mean, you're storing data, so why can't you just store data? This is technically data. We could break this down and store it in a table. The actual definition. That's an interesting idea. Nah. Stay on target. But yeah. So I just want to make sure now that my things are in here. This is another approach. I used to have dynamic SQL in here to actually create the objects, and instead I'm going to create the data. Yep. I'm on-prem. I work in health data on-premise, and I've been thinking about doing this on Azure. But like, why would you make a cloud-based system that has issues contacting another database? Like, I cannot take this model directly without using extended queries. And it's like, come on, guys. Calling another database is like, why would you make it so difficult in Azure? Like, why? Just, I don't get it. Microsoft, go to Microsoft. Oh. I was talking about folding. Folding data set. If I get a data set ID, data set name, template, data set, type ID, template. Update my code. Oh, and then I will need 1, 2, 3, 4. Declare data set key name. Realm class family. Almost made it. Okay. Whoa. I realized I copied the whole thing. Alright, so I'm folding, coming in here, I'm getting my template file, and then I need to fold it into my standard file, so I should be able to dataset type ID is my template, and select the dataset type ID that I want to insert is the same as these, except the class dataset. Come on, eyes. There we go. Realm. The class is now standard. Dataset family. Dataset type. Key. So I'll come in. I'll get my template. It will give me this under template, but then I will replace template with standard crap, which will give me a different data set, which would be the right one. Data set name is, oh, I want to do that too. I want to upgrade this so I can keep templates separated. So you just keep everything separated. All right. Now, database ID. This is interesting. This is interesting. make sure they're on all of the databases because it's a unit. Declare at database key name. Or do I want, nope, because this is going to get a subject. Just got to figure out what relationship it is. So if I get this key name back as interface or system, I'm going to iterate through these, and I want to make sure that for so it'll be right here. Oh, and that makes so much sense because I could iterate through the template and it'll just reset itself. Database cursor. I'm going to not be editing the database table, so fast forward it is. And I would just need the database name. Oh, no, and the database ID. Nope. There we go. So where's my... It's my initial name, which doesn't matter anymore. I just need to know if it's a part of system, because my database type is archive or history or main, system main. So I get the key name of system, come down here, start iterating through my files, building my files, and now I want to insert them into my dataset table for each database in my unit. So if my key name was system, I should get back 4 databases, so they all have the same file groups. Open, fetch, while, begin. I need to trim that name, so I'll get system main or system archive or system history, blah blah blah. I need to fetch, and I need to replace my template stuff. Figure out what dataset type ID it is. Because we work in patterns, and just for blah blah blah. If it doesn't exist in this data set, then insert into tbl.sv tblref dataset insert replace commas with new line comma. What are the values? I own this. Database ID is incoming. Oh, doesn't look like I defined it. There we go. Sweet. Dataset type ID is this new one. And we should null that out because we're setting it inside the cursor. We want to fail. We get here, dataset name. It's being built for us. Description. Automatically generated file. Automatically generated file. Abbreviation, no. 1, 2. Key name, no. 3. Yes. Next value. 4. System main. Sequence over order by. Select. Come on. So no abbreviation, no column header, no key name. That's the source. No sequence or display order. And it is active and I do trust it. Awesome. Sweet. Please don't fail me now. Oh, Elric. What kind of mistake was that? What kind of mistake? Twice? Wait, is this a cursor? Yes. Twice. Yeah. But can we... We classify it right. We have our templates, files under here, and we have our standard files under here. And it worked. So what time is it? Thanksgiving. Oh, Thanksgiving starts soon. Here's a lesson to all those who are watching. If you're very consistent, if you just think about the patterns, if we be able to just say, this is a file group thingy. Instead of file, it should be file group. Everything else seemed to work fine. We should be able to save it, go back, and say, hey, try this with file group. Oh, yeah. And it did work. Did it work? File group template, file group standard, patterns, and it named it what it was supposed to. So happy. Not conceited, just happy. It works. And my idea for pre-populating the data is now I should be able to iterate through the things I have and actually check to see if the object exists and create the object if it doesn't exist, instead of trying to do everything all at once. I'm going to have this set of procedures that will fill my data and then use my data to operate. So I don't have to use information schema. That's another piece about the system. I used to use information schema, but I want to get away from that. I want to force you to define the object before it's created rather than create the object and let it be defined. It just a different way of thinking. But yeah, it was great talking to you guys. Definitely. It was really fun. I'm gonna get off for Thanksgiving. And yeah, probably definitely be on tomorrow because, I mean, this is fun. So thanks all. Good times. I will see you next time. Like all that, comments and all that, subscribes. Peace out.